This is Financially Fit Radio with Cory Sickles from Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Cory provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is Financially Fit Radio with Cory Sickles.
Welcome back to another episode of Financially Fit Radio. I'm Cory Sickles with Safe Harbor Retirement Group and Wealth Advisors. If you would like any information about what we discussed today, feel free to visit our website at safeharboroh.com, or you can always give us a call at 614-760-0670. And if you visit our website, be sure to check out our radio page, and you can also subscribe to our podcast on Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or Spotify. Also, feel free to check out our YouTube page. Just type in Safe Harbor Retirement Group, and you can watch different types of financial topics. You can watch today's show on there, and you can also subscribe and keep up to date with our financially fit tips. We're putting about three to five tips a week out on YouTube as well. So, our goal here is to be able to make sure that you have the retirement that you want. Again, schedule a complimentary no obligation meeting with us. You can always give us a call again at 614-760-0670, or again, visit us online at safeharboroh.com. Well, today I think I'm going to talk about being able to make sure that you have the financial literacy to make sure that you have a great retirement. I think it's a good conversation, but before we dive into that, let me introduce to you my co-host this week and every week, and that's Tony Shore. Tony, how are you?
I'm great. Yeah, we were talking before the show. We both watched soccer this past weekend. That was fun. Always enjoy watching the games. It's a fun sport to watch. It really is. And I think people, if they give it a chance, or especially if they attend a game live, pro soccer, it's the energy level. It's my favorite. And I've been a huge football fan all my life, and I still love football, professional football and college ball. But and I used to think, oh, those are great games, exciting, or NBA games, but there's no sport that's more fun to attend than soccer, I think. So
yeah, and being home of the Columbus Crew here, we actually not only are they good, they have a new, the stadium's only a couple years old. It's a great environment. If anyone's actually in the Columbus area, hasn't really gone down to it. I'll be, I think, maybe 3 games this year already. I've attended. It's a good time. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you. It's it's one of those things where it seems like everyone plays it when they're young.
Yeah.
Then they kind of grow out of it. And for whatever reason, maybe it's because there's not a lot of scoring, or maybe I don't know what it is, but it really just hasn't captured, the U.S. in general.
Yeah.
Obviously you have your devoted people that like soccer, but I'm just talking, from a national standpoint, and maybe it'll help if we next year do a little bit of good here in the World Cup that will actually be in the U.S.
Yeah. I think part of it is people think, oh, low scoring, so it's not exciting. But I will tell you, the energy level at the stadium is it's 90 minutes. So it's not like it's going to go on for 3 hours. It's 90 plus minutes. So it's maybe 95 minutes game. You don't have the long TV breaks where they just stand around. It's constant. They're constantly running up and down the field. There's constantly something happening. That's what I love about it. And the stadium is great. The fans are great. You're right. I think it's fantastic. But I know that you found time, though, to golf as well this past weekend, didn't you?
I did find time. I normally find time at least every Sunday.
Yeah.
To be able to find some time to play a little golf. I do play golf usually on Friday afternoons.
Sure.
I usually play with my nephews on Friday afternoon, which is always good to be able to see them.
Yeah,
so
that's fun. Well, yeah, and I had a great weekend with my family too. Got to spend some time with my son, and now that he's married and has a full-time job, I don't get to do that very often. So he rode down with me to visit my parents. That was fun.
Yeah.
But we have a good topic. It's an important one, right? What do you have for us today?
Yeah, I think in general, Tony, as people come in and they visit with me for the first time or second time, um, we have one of our questions on our risk tolerance, for example, and that is what is how do you view your financial knowledge? Not at all, somewhat, you know, you can get to an expert. And I think most people usually select not very knowledgeable or
Mm,
somewhat knowledgeable. And so today's show, I just want to kind of talk about really the importance of being able to try to, have a better financial literacy and what some of the benefits are going to be to you as you kind of go through life in general, or as you prepare for retirement. So I think it's a good conversation just to be able to make sure you're doing the right things that you need to do to make sure that you're going to have a successful retirement, because I think that's one of the most important things that you can do.
yeah, so we're talking about financial literacy, how to take control of your finances with financial knowledge and with the help of a financial professional like yourself. And I know I've taken that questionnaire, the risk tolerance questionnaire you have, and I know the questionnaire you have people fill out when they first come to you. How would you rank your financial knowledge? What do you know about, financial planning and wealth management? And so I don't think the average person, knows a lot. They might know the basics, but there's so much to it, isn't there?
There is. And here's one thing I would, for all of our listeners out there, or even if you're watching us, on our YouTube channel as well, I'd urge all of you to just go in to Google search and Google financial literacy test. There's a lot of tests out there that's going to kind of give you a benchmark of what kind of financial literacy you do have. Before the show, I was actually just checking one out on FINRA. But I think, what it's going to do, it's just going to ask you some questions. And at the end of it, it's going to give you a score to just kind of say, hey, here's where my knowledge is. And what it might be able to do is, as you kind of go through there, and maybe you don't know some of the answers to some of those questions, that might be something for you to maybe start learning about. There's so much anymore where you can Google search things and read about articles, or there's so many podcasts anymore that you can listen on whatever topic you want. But at the end of the day, I think it's just you're going to be in a better situation as you just kind of go through life if you have a little bit of, better financial knowledge. One of the things I think it really helps you to do is, if you do have knowledge, you're going to be able to make better informed decision making. And as some of the topics we're going to talk about here as we kind of go through the show, yeah, these are everyday things, right? You make decisions on a financial basis on a daily basis. Should I go out and buy that big purchase item? Do I have the money to pay for it? Or now is it going to cause me to do debt? Well, if you have debt and you're putting it on your credit card, what's that mean, Tony? It means now you're going to be paying interest rates.
Yeah.
So you're losing money.
High interest rates
Yeah,
too.
high interest rates, right?
Yeah.
So, by being able to make real-time decisions on what you're spending your money on a daily basis, it's going to help you if you're informed a little bit better just on your finances in general.
Right.
It's going to eliminate you maybe making poor investment decisions or poor decisions in order to get you in debt. One of the things I think a lot of people do is, everyone wants to have a good life,
Yeah.
and but the question sometimes is, are you trying to be like the Joneses next door, right?
Right.
And really what you always should be able to do is, this is me. I need to be able to make sure that I'm spending within my means. And I think if you have the knowledge or the financial knowledge to do that on some of the purchases you might want to make, you're going to sit there and say, you know what, I can't do that. Or what it's going to do is it's going to focus now where maybe you have to go out and save to make that purchase and pay cash for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great example, Cory, of how to take control of your finances. Just being aware of where you're at and
Right.
being able to make the right choices and decisions. And that'll help you save. It'll help you be more responsible. And that helps you take control.
Yeah, there's so many, instances when people come in and they meet with us, and They've saved. Could they have saved better? Possibly. But the one thing that I always look at is really what kind of debt do you have? And hopefully you're in a situation where, maybe the only debt you have is your house, maybe a car payment, but you don't want to be getting into, where you have the house, the car payment, maybe a student loan. And in addition to that, Tony, you have credit card debt as well, because
Yeah.
that's just going to eat you alive. And I think if you have a little bit more knowledge, you'll be able to make better decisions on what you're going to purchase, which means now it's going to eliminate the debt that you have, or more importantly, it's going to show you how to get out of debt, just because you're being able to be a little bit more knowledgeable about on the way to spend your money and potentially save your money as well.
Yeah, saving is a key, and what you're talking about is really making decisions that will allow you to save more, and that's huge. That gives you peace of mind. Being able to save money and try to stay out of debt, that really helps you sleep well at night. If you have debt and you're not saving, that's where it adds stress to your life. It'll shorten your life. It'll cause other problems too.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, yeah, because if you have stress, that's going to lead to potential health problems, heart
Yes.
attacks, who knows, whatever else,
Yep.
overeating. And I mean, there's a lot of things that can kind of go into that.
Yeah.
But again, I think
Hey, I'll watch it on the overeating thing.
well, you can still go and get your pizza buffets, Tony.
All right.
But I think having the knowledge too is going to allow you to be able to budget, and it's going to be allow you to save. We talk on the show a lot on how much should you save. And you should be we always talk about, you need to be in that 10 to 15% of whatever you earn, you're putting away, right? And if you're not doing that, then maybe go out and figure out on how you can lower some of that budget to save more. There's always opportunities to lower a budget.
Right.
You'd be amazed on how much money people might spend by just hitting Starbucks on a daily basis, right?
True. Yeah.
I mean, there's other coffee out there that's cheaper. Hopefully it'll make you just as happy or give you
Right.
enough energy. It's going to give you the same amount of energy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. But being able to budget and be able to save is going to just, again, make you feel more comfortable. It's going to be less stressful. You're only going to buy things that you want that you can afford, which is probably the biggest part of it.
Sure.
And one of the other things, as people kind of come in and they meet with us, and we sit down and go, okay, what kind of investments you have? And some know it and some don't. Right. I mean, one of the biggest ones that I actually see, Tony, is when people come in and they have an annuity. Right. Well, tell me what you know about this annuity. I usually like asking that question. I mean, what do you know about it? And a lot of times they don't know anything about it. Well,
Right.
my advisor put me into this because he thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
But do you know what it does? Is it more of accumulation? Is it more for being able to have the guaranteed income? Does it have a doubler maybe for long-term care? So I think as you sit down with your advisor, one of the things that you should be able to try to do is understand, the different types of portfolios or products that they're actually putting you into. But more importantly, why are they putting you into these products? I think that's the biggest thing that you should be able to understand is why. And obviously, when people come in for annual reviews, maybe they don't, we always review it. I always want to make sure they understand why we did this annuity.
Yeah.
At some point in time, we might trigger it for lifetime income. Well, when would that time be? And there's a lot of things that go into that. When you're going to retire, or do you need the money now? I mean, there's a lot of things that kind of go into that, and everyone's situation is a little bit different. But you should do everything you can to be able to understand all the investments that you're in, and being able to maybe research a little bit more, or maybe just listen to some, again, podcasts or Google search some stuff on different types of financial topics, because I think you're just going to be in a little bit better of a situation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And understanding what you have, it's funny you mentioned that. And it's not like you're putting these people down or trying to call people out, because we've all been guilty of, this. In fact, I at one point in time had a 401k I'd forgotten about. I mean,
Sure.
it sounds crazy, but people don't always know what they have or why they have it. And maybe, like you say, a financial advisor somewhere or a so-called financial planner who was really just trying to sell them insurance so they could get a commission, got them into something they didn't need. Maybe they're overinsured or have an annuity that doesn't really fit.
Exactly.
Maybe they have an annuity that's a variable annuity where there's a lot of risk and high fees and they didn't need it. And so working with finding the right financial professional who's a fiduciary, who's held responsible to only help you make decisions that are going to be in your best interests and utilize investments, portfolios, and things like annuities that will be what you need to reach your goals, not what's in their best interest, but yours. And I think that's huge. And I know that's what you do for your clients. And that's why your business is mainly based off referrals, because you've worked with your clients for years and years and helped them with this. But people don't know what they don't know. And that's why you sometimes need help, because you're going to make costly mistakes. You're not going to be in control of your finances if you don't know what's going on. I mean, a lot of people don't realize what they have. Like, some people have a cash value. I know you've just talked about this. People have insurance policies that they're not fully utilizing, and they could be, right?
That's exactly right. Um, and one of the things I would maybe start to think, Tony, is this: if you have a life-threatening situation, maybe you have cancer or who knows whatever type of disease you might have. Well, what do you
Sure.
do? Well, you're going to start researching it. Now,
Hmm.
whether that's good or bad, whether you start Googling things, because
Well, sure. Yeah.
but the whole point of it is at that point in time, I guarantee you and your family are going to start researching whatever that is, right? And
Yep.
then, obviously, when you talk to the doctor is going to have the full knowledge of it. But
Yeah.
now you've become educated, so maybe you can ask the right type of questions to the doctor.
Yes.
It's the same thing from the financial standpoint. I'm not sitting there saying get the knowledge where you can do everything yourself. You can still lean on someone that has that can provide the advice or provide the direction. But now you're going to be able to ask, some intelligent questions on, why are we doing this, or what's the benefit going to be for me on this particular type of
Mm-hmm.
product, or when do we think we're going to trigger lifetime income on this annuity? So my whole point of it is I think that the more knowledge you have, you're going to be able to ask the better type of questions, for them as well.
Right, and why in the case of finances, you'd think, "Oh, I can just look online and Google it." Well, those are people giving their opinions on what's worked for them or what they feel
Yeah.
is the right way. But with finances, everybody's different. For some people, an annuity is the completely wrong thing. For others, it's exactly what they need to have a successful retirement financially. But it depends on the individual situation, and that's why you, instead of trying to do it on your own or just look to the internet, you work with somebody like yourself who's going to get to know you and your goals, and you're going to look at their personal goals and where they're at financially and what they have and say, okay, based on this would be the direction you want to head. Here's how you can avoid some huge unnecessary tax burdens, or here's how you can avoid making investment mistakes based on your family longevity history and what you have saved and what your goals are for retirement or the future, right?
That's exactly right, Tony. Um, yeah, I mean, we all want to have a great retirement, right? And when you kind of go out and you read about things, one of the big things that I always see out there on the web will be, more people spend more time planning their vacation than they do planning their retirement,
Yeah, crazy.
right? It
Yeah, more
is.
people spend more time planning a week or 2-week summer vacation than they do their entire retirement.
Correct. And yeah, believe me, everyone should have that 1 or 2 week vacation that you want to be able to do, but
Mm.
you still should be putting a little bit of a time on a weekly or a monthly basis just to build your financial education, just like anything else. And here's the one thing I would highly recommend everybody do, and that is go out to the Ohio General Attorney's website and find out what are the latest scams taking place, that's taking away, millions or billions of dollars of money, from life savings of people, that's going to have a huge impact on their retirement.
Mhm.
And the whole point of that is if you can become educated, on all the different types of scams out there, odds are then when something like that happens, you're not going to fall into that scam.
Right.
And, there's more scams out there. And, obviously with AI going where it's going, Tony, where it can do, emulate voices. It's going to be able to do a lot of different types of stuff. And I'm sure
Yeah.
once some of these scammers get a hold of it, you're not going to know who you're talking to on the phone. But, you're going to be, if you go out again and find out what kind of scams are taking place, that's education. That's all we're really talking about, is being able to go out there and find out so it doesn't happen to you. You hear that story a lot too, right, Tony? Well, I've lost so much money. I was with another advisor 20 years ago and lost everything I had, or whatever that might end up being. I don't know if I want to work with another financial advisor. I'd highly recommend everyone should work with an advisor. Just find the right one for you,
Yeah.
right? It's all about trust, being able to make sure that you agree with whatever they're putting in place for you, but it's also a comfort level as well. It's one of those things. Make sure you're working with a fiduciary. It's always going to be looking out for your best interest. But again, this is kind of back to it. If you kind of know some of the questions to ask your advisor, you're going to be able to find out whether that advisor is really truly working for you as well.
Yeah. And we've done shows on that in years past. I know we did a show about what are the questions to ask if you're looking for a financial advisor. And that's a big one. Are you a fiduciary? That's a huge question to ask, because that's really important. If they're not a fiduciary, then they're not held to that standard. And, you'd have to trust that they're going to hold themselves to that standard. But I wouldn't want anybody that doesn't have the licensure and you know, the auditing every year to make sure they're doing the right thing. And that's a fiduciary.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And part of that of being it, being a fiduciary too, Tony, is being transparent with everything that you do with your clients.
Yeah.
And
How you're paid, what their fees would be, if there are fees, and everything is transparent and right up front. That's what I love about it.
yeah, we're probably going to get ready to wrap this show up for this week. But again, I want to go back and say this: just for everyone out there, go out and just do a Google search on taking a financial literacy quiz. Again, as I said, FINRA has one. There's going to be a ton out there when you actually do the search, but kind of get a benchmark of what is your financial literacy. And then the nice part is a year later, you can go back and take the test again to see if it's improved.
Right.
Because just like anything else, we all want to improve on anything we're doing. And I just think overall, you're going to be able to understand what's going on in the economy if you're a little bit more educated from a financial standpoint. But here's the most important part: is you're going to be able to understand on how you can have the best retirement that you possibly can. And that's really what it's all about. You only get one time to retire, right? And everyone wants to retire as early as possible. In order to do that, you need to make sure that you have, all your T's crossed, all your I's dotted, to make sure that you're going to have that retirement that you want. And the best way to be able to do that is become educated or literate, financial literate on those type of topics.
Yeah. Well, this has been a great show today, Cory, talking about the importance of financial literacy, how to take control of your finances. How can our listeners get a hold of you if they want to set up a no-charge consultation?
Yeah, for our listeners out there, just give us a call at 614-760-0670, or you can always visit our website at safeharboroh.com. We have 2 locations in Columbus, Easton and Dublin. And just remember, when you do come in and meet with us, All meetings are complimentary. There's no financial obligation. We're here to help and understand what you need to have the best retirement that you possibly can.
All right, and that does it for today's episode of Financially Fit Radio with our host, Cory Sickles. Thank you for listening to Financially Fit Radio. Don't pay too much for taxes or retire without a sound income plan. For more information, contact Cory Sickles at Safe Harbor Retirement Group. Call 614-760-0670 or visit their website at financiallyfitoh.com.
All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any other government agency. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.